Because my training comes from training in India, where actually massage is positioned very differently. It is integrated into everyday life. You rock up at the airport and you can have an Indian head massage. Whereas when I came back to the UK, I felt that it's positioned as more of a spa environment, candles, robes, relaxation, all of that kind of imagery. So there is this perception of indulgence as opposed to actually therapeutic intervention.
I think that it's important for therapists to understand that they not only encourage people to come for massage. By encouraging people to come for massage, they somehow encouraging them to reflect on their self-worth. Because this is big issue that most of us question that self-worth. We will invest in our friends, in our family, but not in ourselves. So this is somehow amazing opportunity for the therapist to provide support, to change that attitude to themselves, to see themselves worthy enough to spend that an hour once a month for their well-being. But again, very often it's not happening because therapist itself don't do that. They don't invest in themselves enough.
Welcome back to the Massage and Physical Therapist Talk Show with me, your host, Chris Madden from Take a Breather UK. And we are on episode 28 today. So as I say every time, these are flying by. We must be getting to episode 100 soon, We'll have to do a big party. Maybe we'll hire a venue and do a big party for the 100th episode. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? But today, I'm pleased to say we've not got one guest, but we've got two guests. So bringing the party atmosphere to the studio. So welcome to today's guest. So guest number one, not in any particular order, to be honest, but I'll just go from how I'm viewing yous right now. So we've got Beata Aleksandrowicz. Am I right?
Yes, fantastic, perfect.
Brilliant. And I'll just jump straight into guest two as well, just so we've introduced, because guest two is someone that I have spoke to before, someone on this podcast, Sunita Passi. Sunita, welcome.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here. Thank you, Chris.
And it's nice to see you again, and it's nice to meet you, Beata, as well. So,
thank you.
I believe you two know each other already.
Yes. I have the privilege to know Sunita for some time, and even say that we are very good friends.
And it's a small world in this. I always say it like the music industry. It's a small world. Like if you're in a band, everyone just knows each other, no matter where you are in the world or what city you're in. And maybe it's the same in this field that we're in, especially two individuals like yourselves that are very busy, championing, the whole massage and physical therapist sort of world. So, Beata, I'm just going to get into you first. Can you just tell us a bit about yourself and sort of, obviously not a full history of your whole life, but a brief snapshot of what you do and where you're currently at?
Yes. So I am in this industry, in this profession for more than 30 years. I started as a massage therapist. Then together with my then business partner, we opened several pure massage clinics in England, which were one of the first solely dedicated to massage. So it wasn't this famous room at the back of the gym. It was really the whole place solely dedicated to massage.
What year roughly was that when this was all kicking off? I know I'm testing you here now.
It must be 20 years ago when we started.
Right, okay.
And we had really problem to find the premises. Then massage was associated with massage parlor. It was not like it's today. So it took something from us to find that places, but we did it. But anyway, so I am there for 30 years. I travel a lot. I create my own method of training. I focus on training. It's an advanced training for the therapists. But recently, I also opened my digital academy, Beata Digital Academy, which gives me opportunity to reach much more therapists, because when I go and teach them one-to-one, it's always this certain number of therapists that I can see. And although one-to-one training is irreplaceable, but I believe that as an additional education, digital possibilities are there for us, and I think we should take them. I am also still therapist myself after all these years.
So
I
you're
my
still feeling
yes,
strong
I
and going at it, yeah.
absolutely, Chris. And I found that it actually helps me very much when I teach, when I train, because I am still there. I understand all that pains and aches and problems, basically.
See, because obviously I've straight away there you said 30 years. Hey folks, we want to give you a free premium 100% cotton couch cover for your treatment table, and it's worth £24, and we're going to give this to one lucky viewer. All you need to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. Have you learned something from this episode, or have you any thoughts or insights from our discussions? We'd love to hear your thoughts and your key takeaways, and so please do share them in the comments. We'll randomly pick just one comment and get in touch with the winner to send you the premium couch cover, and it's that easy. So get liking, get subscribing and get commenting. Good luck and thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of people listening to this, and we've done episodes on this before where about burnout and how to make a massage career last a long period of time and not just to be physically and mentally broken after 10 years of doing it and then be like, oh God, what am I going to do now?
Exactly.
So straight away, obviously it's really inspiring to see that 30 years and you're still busy, going strong, and probably, I guess, busier than ever at the minute.
Yes, actually busy than ever because of the trainings, giving talks on the conferences. I just finished my third book, so lots of happening. But I think the most important is that I still have the same passion for that profession, and I truly believe that it's possible with the right techniques, right attitude, understanding yourself and creating that journey for yourself. You can stay very passionate, and longer you live, more valuable you are, because you get that life experience, which is very important part of being massage therapist. Unfortunately, people leaving when they get to that life wisdom, they leaving because of the burnout or injuries.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people as well that get obviously really disheartened if they're not getting a lot of bookings in their area, and it's this and then this clearly isn't for me. I'm no good. Blah blah. When it's not the case at all, it's about spreading that awareness and building that reputation, isn't it, of being
but also understanding yourself in that, because as a therapist, you are your tool, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual tool. You are that tool. So more you understand yourself, your needs, how you respond, how you react, you have more chances to become really effective therapist.
Brilliant. And you're saying about the digital course. What was that called again? Sorry.
Yes, so the Beata Digital Academy. This is my baby, my biggest project of my life, because as you said so kindly, 30 years gives me some experience and some things to share, some knowledge to share. So I was thinking for some time to build that platform that will be additional support for therapists, especially those who have no access to trainings in person because they live in the, very far in the location where there is not too much happening around them. Often they don't have resources, financial resources to leave their practice, to travel, to accommodate themselves for a week or so. There is many aspects of that, or they are very busy and the course lasts this 5 or 7 days and it's it. So that is why I tried to offer them something what will stay with them, no matter how busy they are and no matter of their financial situation, and especially around soft skills, especially around burnout, injury, communication, self-awareness, self-care. Although we offer also courses, massage courses, but they are advanced. because I believe that if you go to that profession, you have to do courses in person. You need to really
just
be
going to ask you that,
supervised
yeah.
by teacher. Teacher has to see you, feel you, touch you. It's fundamental. But in one point, I believe that these digital courses can add something to your repertoire, can make you more aware of who you are and how to build your career. So I'm so excited about it. We just launched beginning of November, so it's very, very, very fresh. And I hope that massage schools will see me more as a partner than a person who wants to
steal all of their potential.
Steal or question importance of in-person training.
Well,
I believe really, that we can work together.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the whole point. And as an example, I remember doing some digital training for reflexology, and it was add-on things, it was, but if I didn't do it digitally, I'd have had to travel to Bristol and be away for 3 days. And the cost to stay in Bristol alone was so expensive, plus the travel, plus being away from the family and not being able, it's all these things you've got to try and justify. Whereas if I did it digitally, I could do it almost at my own pace. I could digest the information slowly and revisit it.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas sometimes for these, obviously, like you said, the beginner stuff, you need to go and do it in person, and you need to get used to that touch and have that sort of person over your shoulder really sort of directing you. But once you've kind of got that, you can then move on to these extra things, and this brings me nicely onto our second guest, Sunita, because our last chat, Sunita, was about AI and involving the digital world into our massage therapy businesses, and that's ultimately a big help in this, and it just shows in this case using technology to help us reach more people. So, Sunita, I'm just going to come over to you now and introduce you properly to the world that are listening. Obviously, people might have already know a bit about you from the previous episodes, but there might be a lot of people listening to this that I haven't delved back, because I did a little bit of research, and it was episode 12 of this series that we last spoke, and we're on 28 now, so that will have been a long time ago.
It does feel
16
like
episodes later. 16 episodes later.
which is probably just under a couple of years, because I don't think we do these every single month of every year. So, so I have aged. I have probably gone a bit bolder since I last spoke to you. So, Sunita, anyone listening, just tell us a bit about yourself.
And just to say thank you to Beata, and actually we must promote your new academy to the Tridosha students.
Thank you.
So now you brought that to my attention, we'll do that. So yes, I'm Sunita, and I actually started off. I'm 24 years in the industry, and I have to take a deep breath when I say that, because it does blow your mind when you actually think about the time that I do believe that once you find your true path, and you feel aligned to the work that you are doing, it's a long term, it's a long term, it is your work. So that's how I feel about these, the last 24 years. I started off life in journalism, and actually I was one of the people on the other side who was experiencing burnout and stress and poor sleep, and my company actually sent me to India, and in India I started to have holistic treatment. So I was having what I now teach, Ayurvedic bodywork. I was integrating breath work, meditations, didn't really know too much about that world, but I was experiencing the benefits. And I resonated so much with these techniques that I decided to stay in India. So I stayed in India for a year, and I retrained as a practitioner. And when I came back to the UK, I set a clinic up in London, first. So I lived in London for many years. I know also Beata did, and was seeing clients one-to-one. And then I felt very passionate that I wanted to educate others about what I'd learned. So at that time, Eastern techniques and tools were not so well known in the UK. UK was still more kind of indulgent when it came to therapy and treatment, whereas in the East, it's very much integrated into your everyday life. And so I felt a really strong calling that actually, if I'm training more therapists in these procedures and techniques, then obviously that sends a ripple effect out, more people are then educated. So I set the Tridosha Training Academy up in 2005. So we're also coming up to, well, gosh, it'll be 21 years in October, which is quite incredible. Wow. Yeah, and we've qualified over 2,000 independent therapists. So our training programs are Ayurvedic bodywork on holistic training courses. Over the years, we've also added, we're kind of like a full ecosystem now for wellness professionals. So we're also, we also do have some online courses, which is looking at business growth, which is helping therapists understand their value. Especially in what some may say are more challenging climates. So, through the academy, the essence has always been to actually make sure that we are delivering courses, not just from the practical perspective, but also courses that enable a therapist to actually build their business successfully. And what I've found over the years is, a lot of our therapists will tap into maybe some local maybe local business advice, but as therapists, this is a calling, we feel very called to look after others. And so also the way that the way that we learn about business development and business growth has to also come from that perspective. So 24 years on, we also 2008, I was invited to meet with an eco spa in Southern Ireland. It was the first eco spa that was being developed, you can say, in Europe at the time. And the owner of that hotel, which is a beautiful 80-bedroom hotel in Southern Ireland, wanted to have Ayurveda as a therapeutic backbone. So he said, have you considered developing your training methodology so that you can also train spa therapists? So it was a great opportunity, Chris, and so I did move the business in that direction. And then we also manufacture natural Ayurvedic skincare as well, which is professional grade, so therapists can utilize the oils and the skincare in their treatments. But also, like Beata, I also do wear two hats because I have my own platform. I've continued with my own platform, and under that platform, I've also just finished my next book, and that's actually it's a 90-day program which is focused on mental health and self-development. So, I reached a stage where I've been focused on therapists and practitioners for over 2 decades now, which has been absolutely incredible. And I can't even put into words how personally satisfying that has been. And I just have reached a stage where I sort of look at, what's going on in the world and just felt that I really want to also start to reach more of the mainstream and start to find a pathway where, this knowledge can also be, imparted to, individuals as well. So it's a very easy to follow framework, and it integrates everything I've been teaching in the academy.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's it. So in a nutshell,
I feel like I need to write a book now. Everyone, Mine would only be about 10 pages long at the moment. No, it's getting on nearly 10 years for me actually as well, which is I know we're all shocked when we actually look at when we first, started our practice and I look back and think, bloody hell, 10 years, like it's a long time, and it doesn't feel like that, which is probably a good thing, because if it doesn't, if you're not looking at it going, oh, I've been doing this for however long, that's, whereas you're looking at it going, wow, that's gone fast. You must be enjoying it, and things must be going well enough that you're still doing it and not counting down the years and so between us, if we added all that up, that's over 50 years of experience in the room right now, which is amazing. Quick thing before we get properly into today's subject, but I believe both of you have been the judges at the National Massage Championships. Is that correct? So yes. I've got two heavyweight Rocky Balboa style massage therapists in the room here, because when I see National Massage Championships, that's like, doesn't get much bigger than that, So I was just curious, how on earth do you even get chose to do that? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, do you just get a call one day saying, "Hey, we've seen what you're doing. Do you fancy being one of the judges?" How does that work?
Um, I think that the organizers of that competition, for them, it's very important that the judges comes from different fields
Yeah,
because they are different categories. Yes, massage, body massage is at the base of that, but how we understand it, massage now, it can go in so many directions, even with sound bar, bathing, using the tools, no using the tools, freestyle massage, deep tissue massage, spa massage. So there is many options here. And I guess, no, in my case, I was just invited there. Um, and I think that for Sunita, as much as for me, it's amazing experience to be there. Because first of all, I have so much respect to these people who come in there and they have the courage to be exposed. It's a public big space when they have to present themselves in the best possible way.
because it
And
must be
not
daunting.
not every therapist has that, as Sunita was talking about it. We therapists, some of us are just givers, not receivers.
Yeah.
Some of us are warriors. Some of us are happy if we are just in the room and we don't have to talk to anybody. Okay. And then here they are incredible. And the fact that I personally can meet them after each competition, maybe share with them, maybe give them feedback, learn something from them, because it goes both way. It's amazing. Plus, which I believe it's the kind of in the heart of our conversation today, it really elevates the importance of massage and changing that narrative from luxury to wellness and health. Nothing more can promote massage like such a event.
And it must be every therapist's dream to be able to compete in such a thing and learn from all, whether you get crowned champion at the end or of your
Yes.
category,
Yeah.
it just being there and
Yeah.
witnessing all the different
Yes.
individuals
Yes.
and all the
Yes. And
unique
yeah.
approaches to
Yeah,
what we do.
absolutely. And I believe that this was somehow behind Kate Tora organizing that. You know what I mean? This was where she came up with this idea. This is what she wanted to inspire. And also what I notice when I am part of that many people come who are not therapists. They also watch what is happening. So somehow naturally that education is happening about massage, because not only massage therapists are observing
Yeah.
that
And
championship.
it adds a bit of worth to what we do as well, doesn't
Yes,
it? And it shows people that it's not
of
just,
course,
it's not.
And each time it's bigger and bigger. Each year there is more people coming, so it's definitely promote massage and that health aspect of that. I'm sure Sunita, you would agree with me on
Yeah,
that.
no, yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I very fortunately been a judge since the beginning when they launched the competition. And exactly as Beata has said, the founders, the co-founders, it's wonderful there because they're understanding, they're very respectful of the different styles and techniques, and also energetically, the different resonance from each therapist. Some are focused on sports, some are more holistic, some prefer tools. So judges are they're, I would say they're individuals who are respected for the work that they've been delivering, and can bring a very individualistic approach to the judging process, because they're an expert in their particular area. And it really has grown. It's absolutely incredible. The energy is fantastic, Chris. Can't tell you, it's wonderful. And I know, we've had quite a few students from the Tridosha Academy who have entered over the years. And they always say, they give me feedback afterwards, and they always say, it's such a privilege to be involved because of the feedback they also get afterwards as well. So, we as judges, we speak to each entrant individually. They receive feedback, and if you think about, an average therapist's life, it can be very isolating. They're not getting that feedback. They're not. Some of them may be in networks, many won't be. So actually, to be part of something that's a collective that also, that's giving you feedback to help you raise your level of service, and also a platform for you to be seen, to be more visible, it's very brave. It does take quite a lot, doesn't it, to put yourself out there in that way.
It must be so hard as well to judge such a thing, because obviously I'm presuming it's in categories for different styles and stuff, but even then because everyone's unique and different. Like you've not got a a yes and no kind of framework, have you, to follow? Like because someone might be amazing, like everyone's got these different techniques and stuff, and it must be so hard to be like, well, I really like what this person's doing, but then I also like what this person's doing, and it must be such a hard job that to collectively decide overall, because you have to choose someone at the end of each thing, I presume, to sort of it must be you probably half the time you probably went, I probably just want to go, you're all amazing, I want you all to win.
Because they are, in one point, they are all amazing. But fortunately, we have these categories, Chris, and this helps. And within each categories, we have the clear guidance and the scores related to specific aspects of that specific categories. So this helps us. But that dilemma which you're talking about, of course, it's there. So for me personally, it's a pressure when I am there these 2 days to trying to be as objective as possible and see that person from that uniqueness of that person. It's definitely challenge, at least for me, but also good training in stepping outside of that and focus on those people who are there.
Well, this leads us nicely on to why we're here. I mean, we could chat for hours just about our world, couldn't we? And all the little bits that come into it. But we're looking at this word luxury today. So why calling massage a luxury can undermine the work we do, and what to do about it. Now, I'll be honest, I get a lot of clients that come to me and they'll only come once a year because they come for their as a birthday treat, maybe, and they see it as that luxury as like, oh, it's just a little treat. I'm just gonna, it's like, and it's trying to change that mindset of coming regularly, so it's not just seen as a birthday treat to go for a massage or a physical kind of touch treatment, whatever it might be. What's your views on this word of luxury, and why is it seen as a treat rather than a something that we actually need as a human being to help us, in my words, survive this crazy world that we all live in, and the busyness and the stress that we all go through every day.
Yeah. Well, just a little bit of a background, because my training comes from training in India, where actually massage is positioned very differently. It is integrated into everyday life. Whereas when I came back to the UK, I felt that it was going back all those years, 24 years, it's for the longest time it's been positioned more. It's how it's positioned. It's positioned as more of in the mainstream, more of a spa environment, candles, robes, relaxation, all of that kind of imagery. And actually, so there is this perception of indulgence as opposed to actually therapeutic intervention. And I think that's something that we have in Western culture, because actually you don't have it in Eastern culture. In Eastern culture, you rock up at the airport and you can have an Indian head massage, and people know how important it is because of the pain that they're in, or because they're not trying to normalize tension or poor sleep or headaches or any of these things. It's actually it's preventative, so it's a preventative measure. So whereas we've followed in the West more this idea that it is something that you treat yourself with, rather than something that offers you maintenance. So from my perspective, when we look at it from that perspective, it's really about education, and also therapists also holding their own, because if you fall into that when you're marketing yourself, and it comes down to narrative and language that you're using as well. If you're very clear in the language that you use, it's going to resonate more so with people that really understand that on that level, and they feel that this is so much more than just indulgent or relaxation. It's the therapeutic value that actually starts to pull you in. And also, I would say therapists need to feel confident, that they are making a strong point that this is, this is not, it's not just a treat, and don't feel apologetic about recommending a treatment once every 4 weeks. This is something that is the same as going to the gym. It's the same as going for a run. It's not just a nice to have. It's something that also, is going to make a huge difference to the quality of your life.
I mean, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure there's some therapists listening to this that maybe their business model is based on that kind of treat basis, that luxury basis, where they might have 300 clients that all come each once a year, and then that pretty much they've filled the schedule that way, and if that's how you want to go with it, I'm sure that's fine. But it's funny because me and my wife have booked in a spa day. I think since having kids, just having something like that to look forward to you know what? Even though I'm doing it every day for other people, and I do make sure I try and get myself booked in once a month at least, somewhere. I think since I'm trying to look at this from a client's point of view, as if I'm a client, with having kids and the busyness at home, if I go off for a massage, it does feel like a bit of a luxury and a sort of almost like a sneaky little treat, and it shouldn't, if I book it in during my working week, and I see the importance of that, so I'll block that out. I'm not working when I go for that session. I can't do it on the weekends really because I'm with the kids and stuff, and I can't just leave them to go off for a massage, even though maybe we should get creches or something at these places, so you can do such a thing. But it sometimes does feel a bit, you can almost feel a bit guilty because you're thinking, God, everyone's stressed and tired at home, and I've just gone off and had a massage. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel the same way. But it's about changing that mindset, isn't it? It's because for me, by going off and doing that, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling more rested. Not got this tightness and leading to headaches and stuff, which makes me more active when I'm at home, when I'm with the family. So you've got to kind of see it from a
bigger picture. Yeah, health perspective.
Rather than it's just a luxury treat. Like, going to the pub with your mates is could be classed as a luxury treat, couldn't it? And people do that every day, or once a week, whatever it might be.
But that word dominates now. It dominates that luxury word. And as Sunita mentioned, I believe we created that as an industry. Because if you look at the spas, yes, I agree with Sunita, East looks differently on that. Even me being originally from East Europe, we had more physiotherapy approach to massage. So I believe human experience is very often missing. But at least, so people in Poland or Russia or Czech Republic in the past, they would go to massage if something is wrong with their body, if they have any issues, they cannot walk properly, they have issue with their back, but they would do it on a regular basis at least. But I think what we're missing here is that or it's physiotherapy or it's that pampering. We're not connecting these two dots together. So this pampering very often is missing that human experience. And if you look at the spas, before it were just fat farms. We have different understanding what spas is. And the luxury also comes from the prices. If you feel how competitive that industry is now, and how many new spas are built every day, almost, and how the spas have to compete with each other, bringing new equipment, new technology, new locations, and so on, of course, it will raise the price of the treatment enormously, which very often is just for few.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the financial aspect of that. So we're not helping ourselves to change that narratives. I believe that there is not enough focus on everyday centers. People still not invest money in that. Everyday centers, everyday massage, when people can be educated as that it's okay to come after your work, to have that hour for massage, because that hour will make you function better as a person, as a husband, wife, as a parent, as a teacher, and so on, because you will take care of your well-being. I think this is missing. This is really missing.
I was going to ask about costs and stuff, because obviously the higher the cost, the more it's seen as a luxury. Just like with anything in life,
of course.
you know, you want a nice car, it costs a lot of money. It's a luxury, you know. It's not. It doesn't just become a vehicle that gets you from A to B. It becomes a luxury. And obviously with cost and spas in particular, you know, the nicer the hotel, the more expensive the treatments, and then it, you know, and some people, you know, if they've got the money to spend or to treat themselves, they'll often go for the most expensive option because they think it'll be better. When in reality, it's not always the case, because you could find a local therapist in your area that charges a quarter of that price. And you could probably have just as good a treatment. It might just be in a different location, not a 5-star hotel or
But I would say when it does come to pricing. So if you look at a spa is pricing because they've got first of all they need to the therapist needs to be trained in the methodology that they're delivering. They are creating beautiful space, so they've got, you know, you're paying for the interior design, you're paying for the architecture, you're paying for the wellness area, you're paying for the, you know, in a spa you've generally got pool, you've got water features. So there's a lot of costs that the spa has, which will be added on into the treatment cost, because that revenue has got to come from somewhere. So but actually, if you strip that back, if you go and if you're going to see an independent therapist, then they're not going to have those additional costs. So they are able to then offer, you know, deliver that treatment at a certain rate. Obviously, it's got to make sense. And I'm at the stage now, 20 years of teaching. We actually recommend therapists. I mean, there is a whole in our business growth course on pricing, and you know, many therapists. I remember myself when I first started off in London. I actually worked out of a really nice clinic in Covent Garden. And I was on a split share with the owners, 70-30, 70% to me and 30% to the clinic. And it sounded great on paper, low risk. It was a physiotherapy clinic, so you know, the rooms are pretty simple. But there wasn't much lead generation going on for actually what I was delivering, because my, you know, treatment's been very holistic. So when it comes to pricing, you know, if a therapist can sort of set themselves up where they haven't got too many external costs, then ultimately that can be passed on to the client. It means you haven't got to raise your treatments too much. If obviously you're having to hire a room, you're using maybe more premium oils in your treatment, you know, maybe you've got to pay towards the marketing of that clinic, then that's all going to be added in to the cost of the treatment. So as a client, if you're a client looking at massage, these are all the things you should be aware of as well. It's not that price is put on a treatment to make it unaffordable. It's actually, that's the reality of the cost of delivering it, so that service can be sustainable, you know, that actually that business can run. And if you're happy to, when I was in London, I then set a home clinic up. So I was able to pass that cost on to my clients in London. And it was wonderful, and it didn't change. In fact, I ended up having more clients, because so it wasn't an issue that they would come to my, home clinic as opposed to being in Covent Garden. So these are the things, and again, it's important that the client understands that as well, that actually, when they are paying for that service, there's other things involved than just the delivery of the treatment.
I think it's like any kind of trade, if you like, people, if you might get a plumber out to come and fix your thing, and it's a set flat rate just to come out, and you see people might like complain, but they don't realise, well, for one, the insurance on the van alone, and then the fuel to get there, all the time and money spent training in that specific expertise. It's very similar to what we do,
but there is also experience of the therapist, and very often this is not added, and this is the one problem starts, because if you are a therapist, let's say for 10 years, this was investment. You invested a lot in your growth, in your development. You took courses, so this somehow also needs to be included in the price. And there it's the average price in your location or in your city. You cannot go below that as well, because then you psychologically send a wrong message that you don't respect
yourself,
and so this is as Sunita has trainings around that. I have trainings around that as well in the academy, because this is something what therapists very often struggle with. But if I can just come back to what you said, that sometimes people go to spas and they want to go to the most expensive spas because they believe that they will receive a treatment according to what they pay, and they often don't, which is extremely disappointing for people, because they have to put money on side and they don't receive. And I believe that very often they don't receive that quality because there is not enough investment in education in that spas. We know very well that if spa has a financial issue, first what is cut off is the training. First, so money on the training. This is the first one. So what I'm saying is that very often this very luxurious spas, which look great and have amazing infrastructure and amazing menus of treatment, unfortunately not invest enough money in the therapist education. Yes, this is what I wanted to add to that.
Can you imagine a world where people would be referred like they are with, they might go, they've broken their arm or and they get recommended to refer to physiotherapists, for instance, for physio work. Can you imagine a world where people are referred to massage therapists for?
I think it's already happening.
Yeah.
You were saying why we have that luxury approach and how we can change that mindset. I believe what Sunita said before, you mentioned about it, Sunita, is education. And this is education of therapists in wellness. It's their way of living accordingly to that wellness. And then it's educating client. If we have more medical health wellness approach to massage than pampering, which in Sunita case it comes naturally because her offer is around Ayurveda and the deep roots of healing and medicine with that. But if we could navigate our clients towards massage as an everyday tool, if you think about the benefits of massage for every system in the body, there is no better really medicine. You go for massage for 60 minutes, each system in your body goes in alignment and balance. This which still fascinates me after this 30 years of doing that, how powerful it is. So if therapists would educate clients that this is not one-off, this is that regular treatments, regular visit, And if we would have more conversations that we deserve that this is not pampering, that this is responding to our well-being needs, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, which makes us better people, which makes us more effective, more present in our life, then it will shift. And it's already changing. I see that in therapists that I train and know that if they take that active, let's say, step and become this active advisor rather than passive provider, something is changing then. It requires training as well, training in communication, training in post-treatment advices, training in individual advices, tailor-made advices, and so on and so on. But without education, we cannot do that for sure. I totally agree with Sunita on that.
Now, thank you, Beata. And I just to add there as well, if I look at my colleagues in America, massage is very much recommended because many people have private insurance there. So in a sense, yes, it's wonderful we have the NHS. I mean, absolutely an incredible system. In America, the advantage you have there is because it is, recommendations are able to be made, across the board. So massage, in fact, also alternative therapies are recommended more so because it's a much more individualistic approach. It's just something to put into the conversation.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Just gonna say you say that because I have quite a few clients that come because their workplace has them on like a Simply Health or their other organisations that they might use healthcare plans, for instance, and that's maybe one of the perks for joining that company. You get this Simply healthcare plan, and on there, you might get two treatments worth of, I mean, it's not much over a year, is it? Two, but maybe this is where things can change, where that becomes 12. You get one a month. But a lot of them are limited at the minute to reflexology. Well, for the ones that come to see me, reflexology or sports massage are the two kind of accepted ones. Which is fine because I mean I'm not a sports masseuse, but I'm a reflexologist, so I get a lot that come to me for reflexology, and then all I have to do give them a receipt at the end of the treatment, and they upload that receipt to their Simply Health app, and then they get reimbursed for that payment. So things like that obviously help make it
helps
not be seen as a luxury because it's active healthcare that. So the more of that, the better.
Yeah, and I just wanted to just add, so one of the things we can do as therapists is actually we can introduce more and more, there are more and more GPs, we're seeing it definitely in the East Midlands, who are more open to a holistic wellness and a holistic approach, preventative measures. So it's okay to, if you've got a nice leaflet, go in, introduce yourself to the local GPs in your area and just let them know that these are the services that you offer, because we're seeing it at the academy. I'm seeing it in my own life that GPs are more and more actually starting to recommend preventative measures, preventative services. And if they don't know about you, if they don't know what you're doing, then they're not going to be able to tell people. So you may need to take yourself out of your comfort zone to do that. I'm not saying it's easy for everyone to do that. But you could just write a list up of 10 local ones and even if 2 or 3 of them say, no, that's great, we'd love to recommend your services, that's already means that you're starting to widen your network and potentially bring your services to the local community in a wider way. So things like that can make a difference.
But also, I believe using resources, because if you go as a therapist, you are not vulnerable anymore, because there are so many resources now. We know so much about benefits of massage. We know so much about benefit of touch. We know how much it helps with the central nervous system and so on and so on. So if you go, you have your resources with you. It's not your word against the word of somebody else. You can go really well
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
Maybe
With
you
all
could
the,
invite your local GP over for a treatment from
yeah.
yourself, just so they
Yeah.
can hands-on
Yeah.
experience, because
Mm,
you might get some GPs that if they don't know you and they don't,
Yes, yes, yes.
and
If
they
they can
yeah.
experience that,
yeah, and
it's
they can
changed
come and see
everything.
see the space and they know
Hmm.
what to
Yeah.
expect before
Yeah,
they then feel
yeah,
comfortable
yeah.
Yeah.
mentioning it to,
Yeah.
to their clients, I say clients, patients,
Yeah.
their patients. Um, but and then going back to the workplace thing as well, you get a lot more companies. It kind of died off a bit during after, COVID when people weren't in the workplace, but you get a lot of businesses having massage therapists come into the business space, which to me helps normalize massage as well. And it helps sort of, even if they're only getting a 20-minute chair acupressure session, what I found is I've done quite a few of these sessions and I have quite a few corporate clients now. A lot of them people, employees in these businesses, they then come to see me or ask me for recommendations of who to go with. They might not live in my area if I've traveled to their company, but they'll ask me for any recommendations for massage therapists where they live. And I'll be like, oh, actually, yeah, I know a really good massage, and then they become regular off the back of having a 20-minute monthly session at work. They then end up going to see someone for 60 minutes once a month in their own time
Yeah.
because they
But can I add something, Chris, to what you just said? That yes, I believe that this 20 minutes can really change somebody's life because then they have the chance to experience the healing aspect of massage. And we talk about that aspect with, again, Sunita, what you offering was always there. But we in West, we need to learn that there is not just fixing the arm or leg or it's just that healing element which comes with that. And I believe it's more possible now because we change approach to that healing word. When I started and then travel a lot to Africa, I worked a lot, as you
Yeah.
know, with Kalahari Bushmen. I was initiated by shamans from Namibia, Botswana. When I came back to say I am healer was almost risky in that time
Yeah.
because this was total misunderstanding of that word. But now we use that word, we talk about it, we write about it. So it also gives people chance to experience massage on a deeper level and allow them to feel the difference, not only physical but also emotional. And this is also form of education for people to wanting to have that treatments more often.
Yeah.
well, I was
Yeah.
gonna
It's
say,
evolution, isn't it? Well, I mean, we are
Yeah.
going through that now, where, post lockdown, it's brought, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of
Yes, yes,
tension out
yes.
there, and people, and it's natural. If you look at the statistics, there's, much more people looking for support with their health, with their well-being, and it may be that just massage hasn't quite come into their ecosystem yet, or been dropped in front of their nose, but when we start actually explaining what's happening physiologically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, immediately there's a connection.
Yes,
How could
yes,
there
of
not
course.
be? It's just that our lives have taken us down a certain path, which has put us in contact with massage. I think we also have to understand that everybody is, they're all living, they're living their lifestyles, and it may be that they're not getting in contact so much with these types of conversations. So actually, how do we spread that message? But also, how do we create continuity, like Chris was saying as well? How do we? And actually, you're right, with the private health insurance, that's, if somebody comes twice a year to you, Chris, they are much more likely then, that's an introduction into your services,
yeah,
and
to
they're
come
much more
regularly
likely
then off their
then
own
they're going to
back.
come regularly. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So all of these things are, I mean, I don't want to get too technical.
Together.
It's all lead generation, isn't it, into
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
practice.
I
Ultimately,
think
at
it
the end of
all
the
it
Mhm.
all comes down to, like we've said, is educating our clients to not just come into us when it's too late and they've
Yes.
come because they've already reached burnout or they've got an injury.
Mm.
But making them aware that these things can be preventative if
Mhm.
if they
Mhm.
come, more regularly, whether that be fortnightly, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. I mean, I always say I'd go for a massage every day if I could, and I feel like I'd probably be walking on water if I had a massage every day. But that's in the world we live in. That's not really achievable, is it? Because we've all got so much going on that there's probably just not enough time to be able to do it that often. But whether it's fortnightly, monthly, that's much more achievable for everyone. And we've touched on this already quite a bit throughout this conversation, but how therapists can remove this luxury tag and make it so that people see the worth in what we're doing and for themselves, the worth for themselves. We've explained trying to reach out to local GPs to sort of work alongside them, make them aware that it's not instead of, because what we don't want to be saying to people is, you don't need to go to the GP because I'm going to fix you. Do you know what I mean? Because that could be, oh yeah, you just don't want that, do you? But for the GPs to understand that by recommending what we're doing, he's going to work alongside whatever, what they're doing with their patients, and hopefully in the long run, minimize how many people will need to go and see a GP because they're working on themselves in between these visits.
But even physiotherapists, the same.
Yeah.
There was such a big gap between physiotherapy and massage, and there was belief that you go to physiotherapist, you don't need massage. But now it's changing, and very often physiotherapists are recommending massage as a preventive tool. But I would add to that, Chris, also that I guess first therapist itself must believe that it's not luxury, because this is therapist who is offering and guiding client. So if therapists think that this is luxury, if therapist doesn't have that massages on a regular basis, which is possible because there is always somebody local. The people can meet together, they can swap, they can give each other treatment. It's possible, but they are that first contact. Therapist is first contact, and then creating programs for client, doing discounts, doing themes of the visits for the client. There are so many possibilities to bring that education to the client, because we very often using that argument, we too busy. But I know it's a kind of obvious example, but you busy, but you still go in the morning, you wash yourself, you brush your teeth, you do some work, which you have to do around yourself because you will function better. If we start to think about massage that way, not necessarily offering clients 2 hours treatments, but if you can encourage them to come for half an hour treatment, but on more regular basis, when they can start to see the difference, this will be effective.
I set up like a subscription thing on my booking system as well, which became quite popular because it was a direct debit every month. And then obviously you're inclined to make sure you book every month then as well.
Of course.
It made it slightly cheaper. I made it slightly cheaper to do it that way. I think they saved £5 on the session, which you'd much rather have clients come in every month paying £5 less than come in twice a year. It makes so much sense when you look at it.
And I also think that it's important for therapists to understand that they not only encourage people to come for massage. By encouraging people to come for massage, they somehow encouraging them to reflect on their self-worth, because this is big issue that most of us question that self-worth. We will invest in our friends, in our family, but not in ourselves. So this is somehow amazing opportunity for the therapist to provide support, to change that attitude to themselves, to see themselves worthy enough to spend that an hour once a month for their well-being. But again, very often it's not happening because therapist itself don't do that. They don't invest in themselves enough, and so on and so on. It's probably for the different conversation. But as you, Sunita, mentioned in one point, all these dots go together, and then we can bring the change.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I would say exactly the same things as both of you. It does start with the therapist. You've got to embody your value first,
Yes.
and it may be that you do need to work around. Don't apologize for your prices. There is a mindset element that comes with being a successful therapist. You've got to be confident, not just to be visible and share your gifts, but also you are working for yourself. Ultimately, you're running a business. So you need to understand the costs of that and what it costs to be sustainable. That's something I really sort of talk a lot about is if you want to be here in 3 years' time, you have got to have a sustainable practice. And actually, if you're attracting clients who expect you to constantly give discounts or cheaper treatments, then also you've got to think about what's that message that you're giving out? Are you making it clear that this is healthcare? And it's not, and it's as opposed to pampering, to be honest. Are you, and that comes down to how you communicate and also your marketing materials. And I agree again, Chris, as you said, it's when you really position it as maintenance, and not indulgence. Then I think the membership model is absolutely fantastic because I saw it actually. I've got two sisters that still live in London. When I'm in London, I do see more and more of this coming up. I don't see much of it in the East Midlands, but I definitely have seen it, in more of the urban cities. And it's fantastic because ultimately you are going to then attract those customers who do take that treatment much, seriously. They understand that this is a healthcare. I'm going to commit to this the same way that I do my my gym membership. So it's kind of, even frame it in the way that if you think about how, gym membership or even going and, having a regular dentist appointment, how they frame their services. We need to be like that. We need to be a lot more proactive and we need to be a lot more professional in the way that we market ourselves. And we need to also not over explain, I think, our costs and fees. And also at the end of a treatment, ask, when would you like your next appointment to be, which is exactly what happens with many of the other in other services. So there's a sense of, because we are working from the heart and we're in a caring profession, that sometimes the boundaries can get it can get a little bit, the boundaries can get, there can be some issues around boundaries, but it's really important to maintain boundaries and be professional, because otherwise you just won't have a sustainable practice.
I would add to what you're saying, Sunita, also, and I'm sure you agree with me, time management, because to put in place what you're talking about requires different build of the track of the schedule itself. If therapists book appointments back to back, there will be no time to talk to client afterwards, no time to give advice, no time to educate, no time to take care of the client itself. So there has to be enough time between treatments, which means maybe that treatment has to be a little bit more expensive. The price has to include that, as well as that instead of 7 clients, you will see 4 or 5, but each of these clients will be treated as well as possible, as good as possible, and educated, so there is more chances that the person will come and you will be still strong enough and healthy enough to give that treatments. So I think that time management is also very important
It's really interesting you say that, because people might think, oh, well, if I can cram 7 in a day, then obviously financially I'm making much more. But when you look at it, having that, doing 4 or 5, but having that personal time with the client to try and suggest the next dates to get them booked in before they leave your practice, that ultimately is going to benefit you
that
more
this
in the long run.
returning client, from business point of view, it's it's more interesting for us how much money you need to put in a new client, marketing wise. Okay, creating the promotions, ways to bring that client. When you have that client, I see from my perspective doing that still as a therapist, having my practice, that if I invest in my existing client, my time before and after, this client comes back.
And we all want repeating clients, don't we? That
yes,
is because,
we want repeating clients.
And you get to build a bond with them. You get to help them in their journey of life as well, and
but also, Chris, if you have repeated client, you learn something from that, because if you have clients who come to you on a regular basis, you see change. You really see that slow transformation in your client,
of course you do,
which is important for you, for your motivation. It's a confirmation that you're doing something, that you're making change, which is also important part. You will never have that with one-off client.
It gives you time to change, to try different things with them as well. Whereas obviously if you're just getting random clients constantly that are coming as a luxury, you pretty much do the basics or your flow of whatever that your preferred flow, that whatever that might be. But if you're not seeing them again, you're not getting to try the different methods to see what would suit them best.
Of course, and advices which you give tailor-made advices accordingly to treatment that you gave on that day. So you create that relationship with your client, and you become really the guide on the wellness journey for the client, which we all want. And this feed us as a therapist as much as clients. So this is really important.
Well, it's been fascinating, and I could chat to you for absolutely hours. I mean, I feel we could probably write a book just on this conversation alone. And a lot of the things we've covered today, if anyone listening delves back into previous episodes, some of the things on like marketing and trying to get repeat clients and how do we do that, there is episodes on that. So anyone listening to this that wants to then delve back to really hone in on some of the areas that we've actually covered today, I would recommend, because there's some really interesting conversations on those specific sort of areas as well. But it's been really informative for me. I learn so much when I do these sessions, because I'm always thinking, I've been meaning to do that, right? I'm going to do it, and it's been brilliant to have two such fantastic guests on with us today as well. We're going to wrap it up there. So anyone listening, if we've covered something you want to know a little bit more, leave us a comment, and we will make sure that comment gets back to either of our guests today. Also, obviously, follow them on their socials as well. So, Sunita, can you just let everyone know best option social media wise?
Yeah, so practitioner training and the products is try_dosha on Instagram, same on Facebook. And then my personal platform is Sunita.Passi on Instagram, and I think Sunita_Passi on Facebook. Yeah, brilliant. Please reach out.
And
also,
Beata?
I will just add, we have got lots of free resources on the try_dosha website as well. So there's a column that says courses. If you go to the bottom, there's free CPD webinars.
Amazing. That's brilliant. And Beata, how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, Beata Digital Academy. You can find us on Apple Store. You can find us also on beatadigitalacademy.com. This is Facebook, Instagram, with clear indication what Beata Digital Academy includes. It's 280 videos, masterclasses, courses. And my more personal platform is beata.website.
So thanks again, everyone. Thank you to you two for spending this glorious sunshiny morning with me today. I'm going to have to go off now to my clients for the day, and I'm sure you're both very busy with your own as well. So everyone listening, like, share, subscribe, leave us your comments, and that's episode 28 over and out.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
The Massage and Physical Therapists podcast is brought to you by Massage Warehouse, your one-stop shop for quality massage supplies. Massage Warehouse was founded by therapists for therapists over 20 years ago. We put people before profit and only sell quality massage supplies we use ourselves. I'm not going to try selling you anything here, But I would like to tell you we are the only retailer who gives back to the therapist community. We host a private community group of over 4,700 therapists where they have great discussions every day. We sponsor massage events around the country, publish a weekly newsletter with up-to-date industry news, and of course, we host and produce this fantastic podcast along with our amazing host Chris and his co-hosts Claire, Kate, Anna Maria, Amy, and renowned guests. Creating this podcast takes a great deal of dedication and effort. With growing competition from soulless overseas Amazon sellers and non-specialist retailers, your support means more than ever. We'd be incredibly grateful if you keep Massage Warehouse in mind when you next need a massage table, oils, or any other supplies. Every purchase you make helps us give back to the therapist community through education, events, support, and this very podcast. And hey, if you know other therapists who might not have heard of us yet, we'd really appreciate you spreading the word. Your support means everything. We truly couldn't do this without you. So thank you. Until next time.